She got out of the car along with her family, just like the rest of the relatives, each parking their vehicles a bit farther away before making their way toward the summer resort where they had decided to spend an entire month together as a family. She had been forced to obey her parents' wishes, taking a leave from work to travel with them, despite her deep discomfort about the trip. She knew her cousin would be there too, and his presence alone tightened her chest with longing, heartbreak, and sorrow. There had once been an arranged marriage between them, lasting only a few months before it ended. Not because the love was absent, but because neither of them had dared to confess their feelings. Fear of rejection, fear that the love might not be returned, had built a silent wall between them. A worker came to retrieve her luggage from the car, and she lifted her gaze just in time to see him stepping out of his vehicle as well. She sighed heavily and sadly, watching from afar as he walked wearing his sunglasses, turning his head from side to side as if searching for someone. He paused when his eyes finally landed on her, and she quickly averted her gaze, just as he did. "Mia, I think both of us are going to suffer a lot on this trip, my dear," she murmured to herself as she quietly made her way toward her room, occasionally stealing glances at his broad back. He was walking ahead of her with the family, heading towards his room with his usual cold, unreadable expression. Once inside her room, she closed the door behind her and threw herself onto the bed, sighing deeply, still unable to believe she had seen him again after 5 whole months. She had firmly decided to stay away from the family and avoid visiting the mansion after their divorce, just so she wouldn't have to see him and reignite the feelings she had tried so hard to bury. Yet she failed to realize that no matter how far she ran, her heart still beat in his name, even in his long absence, just as his heart still beat for her. Determined to clear her mind, she decided to take a shower and get ready to go out and wander around a bit. Later, she found herself sitting among the rocks, quietly observing the flowing water in front of her, wishing the pain in her chest would somehow drift away with the current. She smiled faintly as she watched her family enjoying the sea, while she preferred to admire them in silence. Her smile faded, however, when she saw him taking off his shirt to join her brother and another cousin in the water. Her heart clenched painfully when she noticed the large tattoo across his muscular chest, her name, boldly inked for everyone to see. Her hand clenched into a tight fist, overwhelmed by a flood of shock, awe, and joy at the sight of it. "Oh God, help me. Why is he doing this to me? Why is he playing with my heart?" She quickly turned her gaze away and stood up, intending to leave, but her mother stopped her, speaking gently. "Mother, Mia, stay here. Haven't you had enough of isolating yourself?" "Mia, I'm tired, Mom," she replied coolly, still holding resentment towards her entire family for forcing the marriage and treating both her and him like puppets just to please themselves. Later, Mia entered the kitchen to prepare something to eat. She froze when she sensed him approaching. Determined to ignore him, she continued her cooking, but he simply smiled sideways, watching her with eyes full of love and longing, as if wishing he could spend the whole day just standing there, looking at her. "Mia, what do you want, dear cousin?" she asked coldly. He answered in the same indifferent tone, as if unaffected. "I came because we need to talk." She stopped what she was doing, feeling her heart clenching at his familiar, deep voice, and hesitantly looked back to see him closer than before, his gaze locked on her body. His presence alone sent a shiver down her spine, and she could feel the atmosphere crackling with tension. She turned off the stove and prepared to leave, but he was too quick, reaching out to grab her arm, his hand warm against her skin. She instantly froze, feeling her heart racing under his touch, realizing that this was exactly what he wanted, to make her feel his presence, to remind her of the feelings they had tried so hard to bury. She refused to turn around, refusing to look at his face, knowing that if she met the magnetic depths of his eyes, she would likely be unable to resist him any longer. "Mia, look at me." She inhaled a shaky breath at his command, unable to resist the authoritative tone in his voice. His grip on her arm tightened as he gently pulled her closer to him, yet she stubbornly resisted. "Mia." "Let go of me," she said through clenched teeth, her heart pounding painfully in her chest. "No. he replied simply, his body pressing against her back, and she cursed herself for enjoying the way the heat from his body surrounded her, causing her cheeks to flush. She hated how well he still knew her, how he could awaken her desires with just a touch, making her feel vulnerable and needy. She tried to remind herself to stay strong, to push him away, but his nearness made it difficult to think clearly. He leaned closer, his breath hot against her ear, sending shivers down her spine. His words were barely a whisper, a dangerous weapon aimed directly at her weak heart. We need to talk, and you won't be able to resist me anymore. His words and touch were intoxicating, stirring the passion that she had fought so valiantly to control. His declaration caught her off guard, her heart pounding faster at his words. She had longed to hear those words for so long, but she was afraid to believe in them, terrified of being hurt once again. "Mia, you're lying," she whispered, her voice trembling, trying to deny the way her heart was racing at his confession. With a deep breath, she slowly turned to face him, her defiant expression melting when his intense gaze met hers. Her heart ached, torn between the pain of the past and the hope of the present. "Mia, how can I believe you this time? After everything we've been through," she said, her voice cracking with the weight of her emotions. Her hand trembled against his chest, feeling the rapid beat of his heart underneath her palm. The words danced on her lips, yearning to be spoken, but she was afraid, fear gripping her tightly. She couldn't deny the way he made her feel, how her heart longed for him, but trust was a difficult thing to give so easily. "Mia, I want to believe you, but I'm scared that it's all a lie, a sick game you're playing." He stepped forward, his expression filled with tender sadness, and gently cradled her face in his hands. His touch was both possessive and filled with infinite care, a reminder of the love they once shared. "I know you're scared, my darling, but I can't bear this pain of separation any longer, and I will do whatever it takes to prove to you that my love is real." He stepped forward, his expression filled with tender sadness, and gently cradled her face in his hands. His touch was both possessive and filled with infinite care, a reminder of the love they once shared. "I know you're scared, my darling, but I can't bear this pain of separation any longer, and I will do whatever it takes to prove to you that my love is real." His words sent a shiver down her spine, and she found herself torn between the pain of their past and the glimmer of hope his confession ignited within her. She tried to find the resolve to pull away, to protect her heart from the ache of his presence, but he was already too close, his touch too powerful to resist. "Mia, what if it doesn't work out this time? What if we hurt each other again?" Her words, barely above a whisper, hung in the air, filled with both vulnerability and hope. His breath caught, his eyes widening in both delight and disbelief as he slowly allowed himself to believe in the truth of her confession. He lifted her face, his gaze fixed fiercely on her as if he were holding something truly precious in his hands. "Say it again. Look at me and say it again." She met his gaze, her heart pounding furiously in her chest. The words slipped effortlessly from her lips, flowing like a river of love. "Mia, I love you." The moment she spoke the words, a rush of sensations overwhelmed her. Her body trembled, her heart raced, and a wave of heat coursed through her veins, igniting a fire deep within her. His eyes darkened, filled with desire and a hunger that mirrored her own. He drew her even closer, his touch both possessive and tender. "I've been waiting so long to hear those words," he murmured, his voice thick with emotion. He lowered his head, his lips hovering just above hers as if begging for permission to claim her once